So we're going to start off like with Midjourney and introduce you to the AI tools. This is more beneficial for those of you who have never used technology to design before. And we really hope like after this, you guys can collaborate or use each other's knowledges to create interesting pieces.
Okay, now we have covered the, let's say, conceptual part. Let's start a little bit technical part. But first, let's have a quick look at some AI tools that can turn text into images. There are many options available out there. When you Google it, you can find like infinite AI tools, but we will mention the most important ones that are widely used and provide good results. Midjourney actually is our top recommendation in terms of quality and usability. But however, other tools like DALL-E, Blue Willow, Stable Diffusion, Firefly are also worth trying. Okay, for those that maybe don't know, Midjourney is an advanced artificial intelligence program that can generate beautiful images based on text prompts and existing images. It actually uses techniques similar to Stable Diffusion or OpenAI DALL-E. And once you become familiar with it, it actually really, you can use Midjourney, can be actually really easy. However, keep in mind that while Midjourney can produce impressive result with maybe less effort, let's say, having full control over the design process might be a little bit challenging. So if you are like a little bit advanced or you're a pro already, if you prefer more control and want to generate highly accurate result using installed version of Stable Diffusion, not the web-based one, is a better option for you. But so far for this workshop, we will focus on the basic commands and features of Midjourney. To start your process, we need to understand one thing. And I repeat, this section is specifically for those who aren't familiar with AI tools for creating images. So we start with the basic. No matter which tool you use, there is one term you need to understand, which is commonly used in the world of AR, and that is prompt. A prompt is simply a sentence. Don't complicate things. It's a sentence. Think of a prompt as a kind of a spark that starts your design process. It's like a helpful guide that directs your thoughts and ideas toward a specific concept or theme. It's, in simple terms, we can say prompts are essential to give relevant direction to the AI. So the more specific your prompt is, the more satisfying the result will be. Also, it is interesting you to know that prompts can come in different forms, such as words, images, or abstract ideas. In the next slide, we will see how we can use each of them. And they all serve as a source of inspiration and gives us a starting point for our creative journey. In the next two slides, we will learn about the qualities of a good prompt and how to effectively use them in contemporary jewelry design.
Okay, so now that we know what a prompt is, so simply a sentence that you have to put together in order to get visual results, now we can see how you can put together a good sentence. So when it comes to design in general, there are some features that can make a prompt work in your favor, like clarity, open-endedness, relevance, or reference keywords. So These are the features that can apply to all design fields, so it doesn't really matter whether it's jewelry or like it's architecture or what. So first of all, a good prompt is the one that is clear and easy to understand. So you have to define a very clear direction without leaving any room for doubt. You have to be super clear about what you want that AI can generate for you. So in this case, we clearly mentioned that we want a model wearing a jewelry piece, easy to understand. What we mean by open-endedness is that the prompt has to be written in a way that creates different responses. So even though you have to be super clear, you have to keep in mind not to restrict it too much. For example, if you mention that you want earrings made of glass, AI will only generate you earring options. But if you mention a more open phrase and write maybe jewelry made of glass, it will generate you more variety of them, like necklaces, headpieces, and so on. This keeping it open but clear can really help to maybe think outside the box, and also your results to become like more outside the box. The relevance of your words are also very important. The words that you use should be relevant to the theme that you have already chosen, and it has to be aligned eventually with your final objective. The more relevant you write a prompt, the more the design becomes meaningful and maybe more connected to your personal message that you want to deliver. So if the theme of the contest that we're holding is fluidity, you can simply add relevant words to that, like, for example, water-like, fluid, flowy, etc., etc. Lastly, there are the reference keywords, which in my opinion are the most important ones. So by adding references that resonate with your final purpose, you can get closer to what you want to receive as an output. You can do this by adding an artist name, a specific design, a specific area, and this can really improve your results. What I want you to be very careful with is about the combinations that you use. Because if you don't use these reference words creatively, your final result might turn out a copy version of an original work of an artist, which in that case, your work does not hold any value because you can see a lot of that designer in it. So you have to be super creative in how to combine and mix different kind of references so that your results will look original with your own signature, with your own mixture. So please, please, please do not use one reference of the artist because it will generate it and like it's just too obvious. So moving on from general features of a good prompt, let's talk about some features that make a good prompt specifically in contemporary jewelry. So specifically in this field, creative prompts can really help you to kind of break free from what is already known to us, like traditionally, and remove all of your creative blocks. When it comes to contemporary jewelry, there are some elements that are very fundamental to consider, like concept, materials, functionality, and references. As we already mentioned before, in contemporary jewelry, the most important element is always, always, always the concept. So the more depth you give to the concept, the more valuable your results will be. So in order to get a good result, we need to include a very meaningful or maybe something very thought-provoking in your prompt. What this helps you is that it can maybe help you to create pieces that can deliver very deep messages or point out to a specific societal, cultural, or even maybe personal narratives. Another important element is mentioning interesting material. With AI, you can have the opportunity to experiment with very unconventional materials and also techniques that maybe before you never considered. And when you mention a specific material like glass, resin, melton, or else, when you put it in your prompt, it can really improve the overall aesthetic of your design. I mean, visually, yes, but it can also bring out better conceptual qualities of your final piece. You can also try this by maybe defining a wide range of materials in a mood board, then translate them into words, and then put them all into a prompt. The next thing is about wearability and functionality. As we already mentioned before, even though that contemporary jewelry is more about like artistic expression and everything, but it also really values wearability and functionality. So if your prompt is precise enough, you can also cover the practical aspects of a jewelry piece. Does anybody have something to say? Okay, we continue. So what we need to make sure of is that the designs, yes, they do have to look visually nice, but at the same time, they have to be comfortable and functional to wear. So if you do a general research about technical terms, you can also include those in your prompt, and you can achieve very wearable results in terms of form and structure. For example, you can use like 3D prints, because 3D print normally like works with all aspects. And lastly, just like the previous slide, we have contemporary jewelry reference keywords, obviously. Since we want your results for the contest, especially to fit in contemporary jewelry category, we really suggest you to get to know the knowledge behind it a little bit, because when you add some keywords in your prompt that directly point out this category, the result will get closer and closer to a product that actually meets the criteria of contemporary jewelry. I would say maybe a very primary research on the key elements of contemporary jewelry or so can really help you generate like some words, and then you can use those words in your prompt, which eventually makes it like both technically and also visually correct. So now I think we kind of do have an idea about how to write a relevant prompt. We can move on to the very basic tools of Midjourney, and this is what you have to use like after you wrote your prompt. So we can get into those.
Sorry, I forgot to unmute myself. Yeah. Yeah, okay. So, as Nasra mentioned, after understanding what is prompt and how to create it, we are going to find out about some technical information to understand how to mix and use them with our prompt. Just a note, we already shared with you the basic tutorial video, so we assume you the people that come from the contemporary jewelry world or physical design world, we assume you know already how to download Discord and add Midjourney to the server to it. So once you add Midjourney to your Discord, when you open it, and when you are in your you go to a newbie channel or you're in your direct message bot, you will see a layout similar like this. And here first you type your prompt. You have to type /imagine and then send it to the bot, then your prompt, and then send it to the bot. Then Midjourney always generates 4 images from the prompt and gives you 3 options. First, we see this redo button, which is this blue double arrow button, and this redo the whole process and generates new set of images for you. Then there is U, which U stands for upscale. And as you see, where is the red dot? Okay, U1 means upscale the first image, U2 upscale the second image, and go on. And this third option that we see, it's V. V stands for variations. As same as upscale, V1 refers to the picture 1, V2 refers to the picture 2, and so on. So if you want to have, like, imagine that you like the second image, you like the second earrings, but I don't know, something it doesn't convince you and you need some, or just out of curiosity, you want to see some other variations. You tap on V2 to see the variations from the second picture. So it's different from other pictures. And then these are the first things that you needed to know. But also another thing that I forgot to mention, it is important to know creating images might only take a few seconds or a minute, but sometimes it can take longer if the server is busy. So you might have to wait a bit before getting your result. If you are in your private bot message, it's okay, you are not going to have an issue. You can also even check it after 1 hour. But if you are using public channels like newbie channels, where many people are inside, your results might disappear quickly as new messages come in, because everybody just giving a prompt to the bot and they are receiving their result. So you need to be there and make sure to keep an eye out for your result before they scroll out of view. Sometimes even you need to go, I don't know, scroll up like 100 images to find your image. So that is really boring and complicated actually. Here we will see the tools and basic commands to start to work with Midjourney without wasting your free images in a trial period, because I think you have 25 images if you don't want to register or subscribe to the Midjourney. So follow all of these parameters and codes and instructors so you don't lose just your free period. There are two ways that you can control the direction of your result. First is by opening the setting panel, and second is by entering the code or parameter at the end of your prompt. Today we prefer we keep it on how to open the setting panel, because and also some basic code and parameters, since some of you are first timers, we don't want to overload you with extra information. Back to the setting panel. To open your setting panel, simply you need to insert /setting into the message part of the bot, and then press enter and send it to the bot. And then you will see something like this image. Here you can activate the mode you want. Before we get into the important options for our goal and understand what they do, let me give you a quick note about the Niji versions and raw mode. Niji produce anime result, and raw mode helps you to generate images that are more like a literal image result from the prompt. Like if you are familiar with photography, it is the same thing as a raw photo mode in cameras, but they are not really necessary at this stage. So we move on to things that we need more actually for our goal and the contest. Imagine Midjourney is like a very smart computer program that keeps getting better and better. It keeps creating new versions of itself, and to improve, of course, the ability and make things even more organized with higher quality, of course. Each version of Midjourney has its own special strength, but the newest version, and it is really recently launched, is always the best in terms of quality, meaning it can create really clear and detailed images. But sometimes older versions still have features that work better for certain things, like we'll get to version 4, but just know that depending on what you need, you can choose the version that suits you best. To activate whichever version you like, you just need to click on it or tap on it with your phone, and it will then your bot generate images using that version's ability. So if you want just only to activate it for one image, don't forget to go back to the /setting and deactivate the version and activate the version you want. The latest version of Midjourney is 5.2, and it offers, of course, the highest quality, and it can create images that are very sharp and close to what you described in your instructions. It even lets you choose different zoom levels for your image, which is really interesting for product designs. And we can use it now for our contest if you participate for the jewelry pieces, that if you want to zoom in or zoom out from the object. Before that, it was version 5.1, and it was the latest version like till a week ago, I think. And it's a great and understanding what you want when you give it natural language instructions. And also it makes fewer mistakes, of course, compared to the previous versions. But I imagine 5.2 is not actually, is really better. Let's talk a little bit about the version 4. It's not as good in terms of quality compared to the newer versions, of course, but it's very creative, really, really creative. It can give you interesting ideas and suggestions. However, it might have some problems with textures, like how things feels or looks, and sometimes even creates strange looking faces, or even sometimes give you 6 legs. But you can use it like for creative suggestions, then elaborate your images with a higher version like 5.1 and 2. Another thing that we can see in the latest version of Midjourney, they added as a feature, they are variation modes. When you activate one of the variation styles, and then when you ask the bot to give you a variation for a specific image, as we saw, like V1, which gives you the variation for the first picture, it gives you variations modes based on what you have activated. So as it is obvious from the names, when you choose high variation, it will generate 4 images that are a lot different from the original picture that you chose. And on other hand, if you choose low variation mode, the generated images are having only small changes compared to the original one. Okay. Now with Nastar, we will explore a few image parameters and important codes that you can use in your prompt. And also we will also learn about some essential tools that can help you improve your result.
Okay, so the tools that we have mentioned until now were most likely to help you control mostly the model and also your direction. Now we can get more into the tools that directly impact your final image. When you open the setting toolbar, so again, type /settings, send it to the bot. And in the setting toolbar, what you can see is another set of options called stylize. So actually what this option does is that it lets you decide how close you want your result to be to your original prompt. So the higher you put the stylized, the more creative it becomes. And the lower you put stylized, the result will be closer to what you put in the prompt and less creative options by AI. So you can choose this according to your needs. There are actually 2 ways that you can use this option. Number 1 is obviously, as you can see, you can choose them in your setting toolbar. There's also another way in which you can write your prompt, and after writing your prompt, you can put a space, then type -s, then put another space, and then you can put a number of a higher or lower value. It has to be from 0 to 1000. So what is the difference? Obviously, it's so much easier to just go to the setting and choose like which stylize you want. But if you get to work with it a little bit more, I think it's also great to use like a parameter, so minus s, because you can choose a specific number. So if you want like number, you can put the stylize on 150 and it will be just as creative until the number of 150. So you can be like super precise. But for those of you who are just starting, we really suggest that you just choose them and try them in your toolbox setting. So the next one is the aspect ratio. So getting more into it, you have the aspect ratio, which you cannot really find in your setting toolbar anymore. So based on what type of frame you want to get, like cinematic view, vertical, horizontal, or maybe desktop wallpapers, you can specify the ratio at the end of your prompt to get different frames. So if you don't mention any aspect ratio in the prompt, it will automatically produce an image with a default aspect ratio of 1:1. So it's going to be squared. So if you want to change that, you write your prompt, then you put a space, then you type minus AR. Again, you put another space, and then you can put like a specific aspect ratio, like 16:9 or 4:5, which is for Instagram. Then you send it to the bot, and you see that the server starts to produce like that particular image. Here you can see like examples, but you can find a lot of them online to see like what kind of numbers and what kind of frames you're looking for. So, next we have another tool, which is called the remix tool. So basically what it does is that it allows you to edit a prompt you previously generated some images with. So for example, if you already put your prompt and you like one of the variations, so V1, V2, blah, 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 but you don't like the color, you don't like an element, or you don't like the aspect ratio or materials, you can change this with the remix tool. So what you have to do in order to activate it is that you type /setting, and then you send it to the server. And after that it's sent, you can see the setting toolbar again, as we saw it before. Then there is the option of remix tool. We click on the remix tool, and when it's activated, now you can click on V1, V2, like whatever that was the one that you like the most, and you can see the edit window opens. So here you can see your prompt, you have the option to edit it, you can change some words and maybe put new ones. What you gotta remember with this tool is that it doesn't always work the best, and it requires like a lot of trial and error in order to get like specific results. For example, what we realized was that it works amazing with colors. But with more complex edits, it can ruin your original image and maybe give you irrelevant results like disrupted shapes or so. So what we tried was with the colors, instead of blue, we put red, and it simply generated like red options from what we already liked. Okay. Another tool that is very fun to work with is the blending tool. So what it does is that it lets you blend between 2 to 5 images together. These images can be from what you generated already with AI, or it can be like a real life photo you already have like in your camera roll or something. In order to use this, you have to type /blend. And then you will see the option like popping up, which lets you upload 2 photos. Of course, you can upload more, but here we tried blending only 2 pictures that we previously generated with AI. As you can see, you also have to choose your dimension. So there is the dimension part that you can choose, whether you want it to be landscape or portrait. And after you chose that, you just send it to the bot, and then you will realize that they start to get blended together. As you can see, what we tried like is quite interesting, and we don't see any like particular glitches with the latest version. Previously, we had 2 pieces with the same concept, they're different, and after blending them, we have a third piece that is technically correct and is still relevant to the concept. So you can really use this blending tool, but beware that sometimes when you use it so often, it becomes super boring. I mean, I was already bored with this result because we already had 2 interesting ones. So be careful not to like continue all of your collection with this blending tool. Okay, then next we have the image to image prompts. Actually, I use this the most. Another thing that you can do with Midjourney is to upload a picture on Midjourney and ask AI to use this image as a reference. So when you use this technique, you will see that AI generates results that are relevant to the photo that you originally uploaded, of course, in terms of characteristic, but it starts developing them in a creative way, and it starts combining it with your prompt. So what you have to do in order to use this is that you have to click on the plus button near your chat box. You choose an image, then you send it to the server. After it is sent, you right click on it, then you can click copy link, or in mobiles, it's normally copy media link. Then after you have the URL copied, you come back to the chat box, you type /imagine as we did before, then you put a space and you paste your URL. After your URL is pasted, you put another space and then you type your prompt, whatever you want it to be. Then at the end, you mention also the aspect ratio, and then you send it to the server. And what you can see is that AI can generate results that have the characteristics of your reference image, but it's kind of mixed with your prompt that you put. This feature can be very useful for manual designers. So those of you who are joining from traditional way of doing contemporary jewelry, this can be quite useful, because what you can do is that you can simply use one of your primary sketches as a reference, and then you can ask Midjourney to create variations of it, maybe give it materials, colors, and so on. First of all, it saves you a lot of time, and you can choose like what colors, what materials go best with it, without having to go through making it into 3D, putting materials, rendering it. Like, it's super duper fast. So we really suggest you to give this a try. I think you're going to have a lot of fun with it, especially if you put a sketch. And I think we're done until now. What we already covered here was like very basic tools of Midjourney that obviously you can use for your designing process. But now we give you like little extra hints to include in your prompt to produce more professional results. We kind of handpicked this to be like more what you can use in contemporary jewelry in particular. So we go through them as well.
So, to get a better quality in our images, we can use some words and some techniques, especially if you're familiar again with photography, it helps you a lot. But for example, we can mention a camera model, like for example, Nikon D750. Say this way you give indications to Midjourney to generate high quality photos that resemble the style of that particular camera. Or we can improve the quality also by including the lens setting, like for example, writing 50 millimeters, 100 millimeters for micro shots for the jewelry piece. In this way, we are asking the bot to give an image with similar perspective to a photo that has been taken with that specific lens. Also specifying the type of lighting, such as cinematic or dramatic lighting, or whatever you can find can contribute to producing better images with the desired mood. And also you can add keywords related to environments, such as a garden, underwater, space. Lately I went crazy with the mushroom village, for example. And these environment moods can really help the overall feeling of your results, so you can stick better to the theme or the concept that you are looking for. They are also two code parameters, more technical, that provide more control over the output and are really useful in product design. First is : 1. when we use it after a phrase or a word, it emphasizes the importance of that word. And in this way, it will focus more to make sure that word is included and elaborated in your result. The other one is the code parameter colon space multiple space poses colon space sheet, or simply adding a reference sheet in your prompt. You can also screenshot from the this slide if you want, and this allows you to generate multiple angles of a specific design. So this is going to be really useful if you want different angle of a let's say a bracelet or an earrings or necklace. Of course, not always works 100%, but most of the times gives you really interesting result. By inserting these additional elements and using the code parameters, you can have more influence over your AI generated results. For this workshop, for example, we generated some images, and here is the details of a prompt that we use for this image. You can see how we were precise with the using of the specific keywords that refer to the style, material, technique, mood, and even the artist reference without really copying the design of that artist, and also the ratios we were looking for. And the generated image shows how being precise in using these elements can contribute to achieving the desired artistic vision.